I
They
told
don't
you, the
talk about
deal
it
is
at dinner
sealed. We are
parties, they
going to
don't
be
post about it
rich.
online,
Stop it.
they
You're
don't
making me
walk
cry
around
from laughing
announcing
so
what they're doing
much.
differently.
To the movement,
But if
then.
you pay close attention, if you really watch the people who quietly build wealth over time, you start to notice patterns. Small, consistent behaviors that don't look like much on any given Tuesday, but compounded over months and years, they produce results that look almost impossible from the outside. These are not the habits you see in flashy finance content. They're not wake up at 4 a.m. or cut your avocado toast. They're quieter than that, subtler, and that's exactly why they work. Today, we're going to break down 7 of them. Let's go. Habit 1. They pay themselves first before anything else. Most people pay everyone else first. The landlord, the utility company, the subscription services, the grocery store, the credit card, and then, if anything is left, they think about saving. The problem is there's almost never anything left, not because the income isn't there, but because money expands to fill available space. If it's sitting in your checking account, it gets spent. Human psychology is not built for delayed gratification by default. It has to be engineered. Wealthy people figured this out a long time ago. They don't save what's left after spending. They spend what's left after saving. The moment a paycheck arrives, a fixed percentage moves automatically to a savings account, an investment account, a retirement fund. It happens before they see it, before they feel it, before any part of their brain has a chance to redirect it towards something more immediately satisfying. It doesn't have to be a large amount at first, even 10%, even 5%. The amount matters less than the habit, because what you're actually building isn't just a savings balance. You're building an identity. You're becoming someone who prioritizes their future self before anything else gets a vote. Start there. Automate it, and don't touch it. Habit 2. They are obsessively aware of where their money goes. This one doesn't look like wealth building from the outside. It looks boring. It looks like a person staring at a spreadsheet or quietly reviewing their bank statement at the end of the week. But that awareness is one of the most powerful financial tools that exists. Most people have no real idea where their money goes. They have a general sense, rent, food, transportation, but the details are a blur. And in that blur, hundreds or thousands of dollars disappear every year into expenses that were never really chosen. Subscriptions that auto-renew, habits that became invisible, small purchases that individually feel harmless but collectively represent a significant leak. Wealthy people close that leak, not obsessively, not anxiously, but with clarity. They know their numbers. They know what they spend on housing, on food, on entertainment, on transportation. They know the difference between what they planned to spend and what they actually spent. And when those numbers don't line up, they get curious, not guilty, not panicked, just curious. Where did it go? Was that intentional? That level of awareness creates control, and control is where financial progress actually lives. You don't need a complicated system. A simple monthly review, 30 minutes once a month, is enough to completely change your relationship with money. Not because you'll restrict every dollar, but because you'll start making conscious choices instead of automatic ones. Habit 3. They think in assets, not just income. This is the mindset shift that separates people who earn money from people who build wealth. Most people think about money in terms of income. How much do I make? How much do I bring home? If I make more, I'll have more. That's the mental model, and it's incomplete. Wealthy people think about assets, not just what comes in every month, but what they own that works for them while they sleep. Investments that grow, properties that generate rent, businesses that produce cash flow, content or intellectual property that earns without requiring their direct time every time. The goal isn't just to earn more. The goal is to own more things that earn. This shift in thinking changes every financial decision. Instead of asking how much does this cost, they also ask, what does this purchase do to my asset base? Buying a car that depreciates is a very different kind of decision than putting the same money into an investment account. Neither is necessarily wrong, but the wealthy person is aware of the difference and makes the choice deliberately. You don't have to be rich to start thinking this way. You can begin with small investments, even a modest index fund contribution every month. The dollar amount doesn't matter at first. What matters is that you start building the habit of acquiring things that work for you, rather than just trading your time for money indefinitely. Habit 4. They protect their time like it's their most valuable asset. Money can be earned again. Time cannot. Wealthy people understand this at a level most people don't. They are careful, sometimes ruthlessly careful, about where their time and attention go. They say no to things that don't move them forward. They delegate tasks that someone else can handle. They are deeply skeptical of activities that consume hours without producing meaningful results. This doesn't mean they don't rest. It doesn't mean they don't have fun or relationships or downtime. It means they are intentional about how they spend the finite, non-renewable hours of their lives. Every hour you spend on something low value is an hour you didn't spend on something high value. Learning a skill that increases your earning potential, building a side income, developing a business idea, investing time in relationships that open doors. The compounding effect of time spent well is just as powerful as the compounding effect of money invested well, maybe more powerful. Start asking a different question about your time. Not just, do I want to do this, but is this the best use of this hour? You won't always say no, but asking the question regularly will start to shift where your hours go, and that will shift everything that follows. Habit 5. They get comfortable with money conversations. Most people avoid money conversations. They feel awkward negotiating their salary. They feel embarrassed asking for a raise. They sign contracts without fully reading them because they don't want to seem difficult, and that avoidance costs them significantly. Wealthy people are comfortable talking about money, not in a bragging way, in a practical, matter-of-fact, this is an important topic kind of way. They negotiate every time they can. Salaries, contracts, fees, rates. They ask for better deals. They walk away from terms that don't serve them. They ask the uncomfortable questions. What does this cost? What does this earn? What happens if this goes wrong? Before they commit to anything. The data on salary negotiation alone is staggering. People who negotiate their starting salary earn hundreds of thousands more over the course of a career than people who accept the first offer. Not because they're greedier, because they asked. Get comfortable with money conversations. Practice them. Lower the emotional stakes. Treat negotiation not as confrontation, but as a normal adult exchange of information. It is one of the highest return skills you will ever develop. Habit 6. They invest in themselves before they invest in anything else. There is no investment that consistently outperforms human capital. A course that teaches you a skill worth $50,000 more per year, a book that changes how you think about business, a mentor who shows you a path you couldn't see from where you were standing, a certification that unlocks a new income category entirely. Wealthy people spend money on themselves, on their knowledge, their skills, their network, their thinking, without hesitation, not recklessly, deliberately, selectively, with the understanding that the return on investing in yourself is often the highest return available. Most people treat self-investment as a luxury, something to do once they can afford it, once they have more money, once the timing is better. But that thinking is backwards. You build the financial capacity to invest in the market by first investing in your own ability to earn, think, and create value. The person who earns more because they developed a skill has more to invest. The person who thinks more clearly because they've spent time sharpening their mind makes better decisions with every dollar they have. Treat your education, formal or otherwise, as a financial priority, not an afterthought. The return will compound for the rest of your life. Habit 7. They play the long game, quietly, without needing validation. This might be the most important habit of all, and the hardest to sustain. Building wealth is slow, almost insultingly slow for the first few years. The graph of real financial progress looks like a flat line for a long time, And then, when the compounding starts to take effect, it curves sharply upward in a way that seems sudden, but was actually years in the making. Most people give up during the flat part, or they get distracted by something that looks faster, or they compare themselves to someone who appears to be further ahead and lose confidence in their own path. Wealthy people stay in the game. They don't need to post about it. They don't need others to acknowledge the progress. They don't need the process to look impressive from the outside. They also understand that the quiet life, the modest car, the lived-in house, the lunch packed from home, is not a sacrifice, it's a strategy. Every dollar not spent on appearances is a dollar working silently in the background. Every year spent not trying to look wealthy is a year spent actually becoming wealthy. The most dangerous financial trap is performing prosperity instead of building it. The wealthy people who stay wealthy know the difference. They choose the substance every time, even when nobody is watching. Especially when nobody is watching. 7 habits, none of them flashy, none of them requiring a special background, a large starting balance, or a lucky break. Pay yourself first. Know where your money goes. Think in assets. Protect your time. Get comfortable with money conversations. Invest in yourself. Play the long game. These habits don't produce results overnight. They never will. That's not how they work. But practiced consistently, quietly, privately, without fanfare, they produce something more valuable than overnight results. They produce a life where money is no longer the thing you stress about, where your future feels like something you're building, not something happening to you, where the gap between where you are and where you want to be is slowing, steadily and surely, every single day. That's what the habits are actually for, not to impress anyone, to free you.